Hi guys, JT here, and here's my top 10 horror games released in 2021 and 2022 that you should consider in the 2022 Steam Winter Sale. So let's get into this. At number 10 we have Chernobylite, a science fiction survival horror RPG. Set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, you play as Igor, a physicist and an ex-employee at the Chernobyl power plant. You have returned to Pripyat to investigate the mysterious disappearance of your fiancée 30 years ago. This game features a non-linear story, and depending on choices you make, it will change members of your group and the ending of the story. You can change these choices if you're not happy with them via a wormhole gun. Gameplay-wise, you will be exploring the Chernobyl exclusion zone, collecting various resources and using those resources to build various tools at your base and also upgrades. You'll also be dodging radiation and fighting off enemies with stealth or with your weapons. You will recruit other survivors, and you do come to know each of them quite well as you make dialogue choices. The exploration, collecting of resources, base building, and intense stealth gameplay can be quite addictive. Chernobylite is more unsettling than scary as the city is always quiet, which can get quite intense when you spot an enemy or an anomaly. At number 9 we have Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, a survival horror game that is akin to Alien Isolation. You play as Gregory, a child who has been hiding inside Freddy Fazbear's animatronic guts. Seeing that it is nighttime, you try to exit the Pizzaplex through the front doors, only for it to close on you. You're now trapped in the Mega Pizzaplex restaurant. At night, the animatronics initiate the nighttime protocols where they relentlessly pursue any intruders. And unfortunately, that's you! You'll have to avoid killer robots, hide in closets and bins, evade detection, and find a way to escape the enormous Pizzaplex. The game provides some conveniences to you, like the ability to look through security cameras to track your stalkers, and the ability to walk around as one of the animatronics. But these conveniences get taken away from you at the most inconvenient times, which adds a lot of tension. There are also plenty of jump scares in this game, especially when you get caught, so be sure to pack a good heart and diapers. In addition, you'll be managing the power of your flashlight and exploring the interconnected world, collecting keys and upgrades, inching closer to escaping each time. If you like games like Alien Isolation, you'll definitely like this game. Moreover, there'll be a free DLC released next year called Ruin, so what better time to get into it than now? At number 8 we have The Dark Pictures Anthology House of Ashes, a narrative-focused survival horror game. Taking place in 2003 during the Iraq War, you take control of 4 soldiers whose mission is to look for weapons of mass destruction. However, deadly creatures start appearing when your squad falls into an underground network of caves and claustrophobic tunnels. As per previous Dark Pictures games, you will be making dialogue choices that can build or destroy relationships and determine your character traits. Your choices do not affect the plot significantly, but it does add tension and vice versa. You'll also be presented with quick time events which become harder the higher your difficulty is set. And when you die due to being too slow to react, the consequences usually involve a ton of blood exiting your body. Although the performances of the actors are great, the story and characters are a bit cliché, and feels a bit like a direct-to-DVD film. But what makes this game so special is in its ability to create immense amount of tension with the blinding darkness and the claustrophobia caused by being underground and jump scares that will make you jump. At number 7 we have MADiSON, a horror puzzle game filled with mysteries and plenty of jump scares. You play as Luca, a teenage boy who wakes up in a family home covered in blood and haunted by an entity. Your only chance to escape is to solve the various puzzles scattered around the maze-like house. Puzzles will become increasingly more difficult, and some require lateral thinking and tracing your steps. Backtracking is easier said than done as the house constantly evolves, so a corridor that used to be there may no longer exist. In addition, you have a Polaroid camera that it can use to find clues to solve puzzles or reveal even more than you bargained for. Just remember to wear your diapers. These unexpected scares will make you hesitate when you click the shutter button. The ambience of the house will give you an unsettling feeling and a sense of paranoia as strange creaks, thunderstorms, and distorted noises from electronic devices can be heard as you navigate through what seems to be a maze of a home. So if you like horror games where you play a defenseless character navigating through puzzles, this could be a game for you. At number 6 we have Buddy Simulator 1984. You play as yourself in 1984, and you're trying out a friend simulator in a virtual world. The AI is programmed to be your buddy with the main purpose of trying to keep you entertained with whatever it can come up with. You start with just some text on the computer screen, playing hangman or rock paper scissors with your new AI buddy. But if you keep playing, the environment will change over time to a text-based adventure game, QTE-based battles, and simple lever puzzles to keep you entertained. However, the software is glitchy and the games will break a lot. It is up to you if you want to interact with the glitches or not, but beware, it is not for people with a weak heart. The QTE battles are also quite challenging and will take you a while to finish each battle as the enemies are quite tanky. Every ending will unlock a song that can be played in the main menu, telling how the AI feels about you. The endings will ignite different feelings and is definitely worth playing through. It may not seem like much, but the game builds a ton of suspense, mystery, surprises, and story. And number 5 we have In Sound Mind, a psychological horror mystery game. You awaken in an apartment. You don't know how you got there nor who you are. You soon discover that you're a therapist, and to move on through the game you have to listen to therapy sessions that you have had with your patients. However, upon playing these tapes, you are transported to twisted worlds that are representations of the psyche of your patients, and you have to find a way to escape. You aren't alone in this world either, as you are constantly hunted by monsters and also bosses of each world, akin to the stalkers from the Resident Evil series. The way you handle each stalker will be different, like flashing a mirror at a stalker who can't stand looking at his own face will thwart attacks from it. There are guns in this game, but the shooting isn't the smoothest, and you are meant to be sneaky, ambushing enemies and taking them out, instead of going guns blazing. I would highly recommend this game if you're into a good horror game with an interesting setting and an even more interesting world. And number 4 we have Days Gone, an open world zombie adventure game. You play as Deacon St. John, riding across the post-apocalypse in your bike, seeking answers around your dead wife. However, the story soon evolves into a story about relationships, loyalty, and how humans cope during the zombie apocalypse. What's interesting is that the side quests that you do actually contribute to the main story rather than padding it out. In Days Gone, the zombies are fast and they do attack in hordes if you make any loud noises. So you'll be sneakily stabbing their heads while looking for scarce resources in the world and completing quests. When the horde comes running to you, you better run and ensure that you have an escape plan. There are also rogue humans and wildlife who can murder you. To fight them, you'll have access to various traps and weapons, both ranged and melee. Every moment will feel dangerous, especially if you're not careful. So if you want to go through an intense experience of zombie survival, Days Gone could be for you. And number 3 we have Little Nightmares 2, a suspenseful adventure game. You play as Mono, a young boy trapped in a world that has been distorted by an evil transmission. You find a new friend named Six, the protagonist from the first game, and the both of you set out to discover the source of the transmission. Just in case you're wondering, this game is the prequel to the first game. Like in the first game, you'll be sneaking past seemingly giant, disturbing human-looking monsters to get to the next point, which usually involves moving in a particular direction. This time around, Mono is able to carry various weapons and tools to either destroy something in your path or to smash smaller enemies to bits. You also have access to a torchlight which you can use to freeze certain enemies in place when you shine your light at them, only for them to move again when your light is off them, like a game of statues. And this can get quite complicated when you have 4 enemies to shine your light on. Little Nightmares 2 is basically more of Little Nightmares 1, so if you like the first game, you'll most likely love this game. And number 2 we have Bendy and the Dark Revival, a survival horror game that looks like something out of an old Disney cartoon. You play as Audrey, finishing work when you bump into a janitor on your way out. He brings you to the lost studio and seemingly kills you. Now you must fight for your life as you face puzzles, strange creatures, and boss fights in an ink-filled world, trying to find an escape. The gameplay will involve you solving puzzles by finding codes to doors or by finding an item and putting it where it goes. And it is more difficult than it looks, as the items are usually stashed in very dangerous places that you have to tread through to get to. You'll have access to an upgradable multi-purpose tool, the Gent Pipe, which you can use to defend yourself or to charge up energy and override security doors. Enemies range from small ink creatures to bigger enemies that require different approaches, either bashing them in the head or hiding. You'll gain abilities over time to help you towards that goal. While the scares are rather mild and the story is rather short, the overall experience, art style, and narrative are highly entertaining and very well done. And number 1 we have Resident Evil Village, the 8th installment in the main Resident Evil game series. You take on the role of Ethan Winters. After the incident at the baker's residence in Resident Evil 7, you try to settle down with your wife, Mia. In fact, you even have a daughter together named Rose. However, things quickly turn to custard as the protagonist from the first game, Chris Redfield, barges into your house, kills your wife, and kidnaps Rose. Tracking Rose down, you eventually get to a village filled with mysteries and horrors befitting medieval lore. Right off the bat, Resident Evil 8 isn't scary, and is more of an action game peppered with disturbing creatures. The story is quite interesting and the antagonists are very memorable, with the least memorable being the final boss of the game. You'll be shooting your way through various creatures and traveling to various parts of the village in search of your daughter. The gameplay is faster paced than Resident Evil 7 and is fun gunning down mutated residents and experiments gone wrong. You'll have access to a variety of weapons like handguns, SMGs, shotguns, sniper rifles and revolvers, and even grenades. So if you like a shooter that strikes a good balance between action and a good sense of adventure, definitely play Resident Evil Village. Do you agree with this list? What other games are you looking forward to in this winter sale? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.